Okay, this is House Education on Wednesday, April 1st. We're going to keep the ranks to a minimum. High tension here. So yesterday we left off continuing to look at the bill that we have created, the maps that we have created. I think so. Sure, what's gone on in the meantime is I have been going back and forth to get some better sense of what sort of money we need to put in for facilitators and whatnot. And sort of getting all that information squared away as best as possible. And then legislative council has looked at sort of the map and how to plug in at least the CISA boundaries into that. And then has also brought up a few points we need to discuss about the district groupings that are just some legal issues. That's all. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to you to just kind of reorient us again.
Beth St. James, Office of Legislative Counsel.
And by the way, if everybody refreshes their document list, you'll see the maps from yesterday as well.
Do you want to work with the draft that I did last night? Or do you want to not have that?
Well, why don't we have 7.1 up, and I guess.
That doesn't have any of the, I think I sent you 8.1 last night.
Okay, do you have 8.1?
All of the 7.1.
I just want one of the pre-K language.
Oh, that's pre-K. Yes, we might just as well dive right into it.
We're diving into what's 8.1?
8.1, it's not here, we don't have it yet.
I have a quick question about the map.
Yeah,
We put, Leanne had suggested moving those areas into District 13. But then we didn't draw the seesaw map to include them in District 13.
right.
You know what I mean?
I have to open the map up, so.
I also received feedback from my town that wants to be moved.
If it's even remotely helpful, in order to help me draft, and I've just sent it, I did send an email last night at 11 o'clock. I just didn't include Matt. So I'm not that crazy. In order for me to draft, I've put in the boundaries that you have been working with. In order for me to draft them, I found it helpful to make my own interactive map. Because I needed, it had the towns, the map that you guys have had the towns, but didn't have any of the school districts or the supervisory unions, which is the levels that I needed. And so I could at least get one or the other. Anyway, it might be helpful to use the interactive maps to the extent that's helpful to you.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
if you want to put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you want to start with, CISAs or what I am calling the groups? Not districts, just groups.
Let's do CISAs first. Groups, I don't even think we sort of completed our work on.
Okay. But you have something to start with. So I think when we get there, I just take my red pen and I help you with the map and then I X off what we're doing, and it'll be 10 times easier for me to bring you a draft than starting from scratch. So even if you're not set on the lines, I'm happy that you gave me what you did. Let me. Okay, we want to start with seesaws. Oh, there it is.
Is that the CISA's map 2.1 or the districts with CISA's map draft 2.1?
I made my own interactive map based on CISA's 2.1.
Is that on our
Yes.
menu? So
No.
Okay.
I am going to share my screen and I'm happy to send you the link. I used your stationary map, which was a PDF. And I just clicked around until I put everyone in the right places and what I am about to share. It's easy when you either change your mind or figure out that I got something wrong to change it. So, what's cool is that, so Champlain Valley North Region. So what I did in order to draft, so maybe we can just play around with the map for a second while Matt waits for the interweb to work its magic. So the Champlain Valley North Region seesaw. You can go through all, so seesaws are at the membership is at the supervisory union level. So ideally, based on the language that you currently have, all of these current supervisory unions would have the same colors here because they're only assigned to one seesaw. But you can see that some of these supervisory unions have more than one, very few have more than one color, which means they were split either at the town or the district level. Okay, so it looks like there's only,
One in mine.
there's Caledonia Central SU with more than one color. Grand Isle SU has more than one color. Where do you think Rep Long?
Wyndham Central, you go down. Central, that is too low. I think. I can see the rest of it, but Marlboro, it's not in.
Yeah. Remember, I'm a lawyer, not a graphic artist.
Oh.
So I
Oh,
don't,
This is different, okay, forget it.
I don't,
Nope,
I think they're all in the same seesaw.
yep, they are.
So two places where I found, based on the stationary map you gave me, Grand Isle is split, so Alberg School District belongs to a different seesaw than the rest of Grand Isle SU, which I have no policy position on. If that is the choice you want to make, well, I'll just need to think about building in language to account for membership at the school district level and not at the SU level across all.
Yeah, I mean, that's, so that, for example, that's largely based on the fact that the water and the bridge. So I would be reluctant to change it.
Okay. And then Caledonia Central. You've got Plainfield and Marshfield, which is what, Twin Valley School District? Twinfield in a separate seesaw than the rest of their supervisory union.
Yeah, this is an interesting. Okay, so let's, here's the reason why. Is because as we were making groupings, we, and with the bigger view of regional high schools, the view is to think about the future. So we've had a lot of sort of reaction and thought that in the future, we're talking about bigger regional high schools, that sort of the Twinfield grouping would probably head to U32. So hence we put them in the Winooski Valley CISA, anticipating that future. However, I think you bring up an important point that's saying that CISAs are being deployed quickly. The rest of it isn't. So therefore, maybe the CISAs should continue to respect existing school district lines in this case.
And don't we have language that in your study groups, you can go outside your CISA if there's a partner outside your CISA that makes sense?
Yes, but when we get to the group maps, you'll notice that the supervisory unions, there are more supervisory unions with multiple colors. Which means you've got, you've even got, at least the way I read your map, you've even got school districts split in your groupings
Within CISAs or within?
districts.
Okay, so but for with CISAs, our current language is groups and by SU.
Yes,
So if we had our CISAs built around existing SUs for the grouping, it would simplify math
wouldn't-
language? Or
I
not?
will do whatever you
Right.
want to do. I'm just pointing out that there were two instances.
Okay,
And they can go out.
well, I guess I would, it seems like it would, and I'm happy to have anybody else weigh in on this except me, but it would make sense to sort of, within the CISA, since we're trying to deploy them rapidly and get them up and running, to maintain current SU lines, which would put the Twinfield district back in the Northeast region CISA.
So we can do that.
I would agree with you.
So I can do that by just doing this. Oh, there's one more then. Who isn't?
So, yeah.
Yeah, again, it's a little. But I understand why they're different because of the roads.
Why that's yellow dot is still there. So that's a TBD, but I have just added the Twin Field
Yeah, between Marshfield and
Marshfield
Penfield.
and
School District back into the Northeast Region seesaw, which keeps the Caledonia Central SU intact, I think. Does anyone have their book that I left on my desk? May I borrow that?
down, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so Caledonia, this is like, there are folks out there who probably think I'm crazy. Okay, so Cabot. Barn, okay.
Purple this year.
Got Cabot, you've got
There's
Barnett, you've got. Does anyone who's familiar with the supervisory union? This looks intact according to the map lines, but I've still got this color here, which I don't understand.
Which color?
If you look at, there's a little dot that would
I
indicate,
can't even see the little dot.
There's one yellow.
But I don't see, I'm struggling to see it actually on the map.
if you look where the hand is on the left, it's Caledonia Central
Oh,
SU.
right there. I was looking at the map.
Those were the only two conflicts.
Maybe the map.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's probably me. Would you like me to keep Alberg as part of
Yes,
the Champlain Valley North
Yeah.
or Chittenden Central?
It's
Alberg is split from its SU, which is a choice you can make.
I mean, I think Leland can speak to that better than anybody.
for CISA.
yeah, this is only CISAs. Am I hearing some consensus that we should just keep the SUs the same?
This isn't about kids.
No, this is how.
No.
This is about
People working.
services, so let's think about that.
People that are working together already.
Right.
Should be in the same.
Okay,
Okay, so you want to keep Alberg as part of the Chittenden Central region?
yeah.
Okay.
Just to remind people, the previous thinking was because Alberg's so far up there, when they go to the mainland, they do it via bridge at the top there.
But it's part of the union.
What's that?
It's part of the union.
Yeah, but this, you know, Yeah.
And like I said, we do have language about changing, I think we do about changing CISA lines or adjusting them. Well, we thought about doing that in the future. that there would be a process in the future for that.
The process in the future is you would have to make those changes because they're set in statute. You do, I think you ask for,
A report back with recommendations.
somewhere. Yes, section 15. This requires AOE in consultation with the study committees and the State Board of Education to make recommendation for SU boundary adjustments and CISA boundary adjustments that take into account new union school districts formed pursuant to this act. So you have already accounted for that. Not until 2029 though. Okay, so I'm still very confused as to why there is,
Does it tell you which of those, when you, doesn't it?
it tells you the town, it does not tell you the school district.
Okay.
And it tells you
SU.
the SU, and then it's keeping a running count of your aggregate ADM.
When you open that up, it doesn't show you what each dot is.
No, let's see.
And
Well, I
So we
think,
know
I think
the
what we have
ones.
embraced here is a philosophy of not breaking up SUs when it comes
Yes.
to census. So
So I just want to be transparent about my resources here. I'm using the education directory that I find so helpful. I am Googling school district and SU websites and checking membership as I need to. And I think when we are as close as we can get to done, I'm going to try and use the agency's website, their dashboard. This is all, I'm not trying to not trying to be a martyr here. This is all very time consuming. And so the lead time I will need to finalize things, I just want to keep that in perspective. And I am always open to someone who has an answer reaching out and letting me know that something is wrong because it's wrong in one of my resources.
So we have probably one more issue to deal with. And that is, we created, so the Southeast region really needs to be exactly what the current BOCES is, because we are using them as an agent for creating the rest of the CISAs.
Hartford.
What's that? And if we change their border, it could really complicate things.
The top right of it is.
So I don't know anything. So we're talking about the Southwest region, right?
Yes.
If you want to keep this as VTLC, I need direction on what that looks like.
Take off Hartford up at the top. That one.
But we also have Norwich in there.
Yep.
We did?
Yep.
Yeah.
You want me to take Norwich off?
yes,
Yep.
a question, are they,
True, for a CISA, for a CISA, they can be an interstate school district. Yeah. So we probably need to put them up with, right, with that for the blue. Yes, go ahead, Josh.
I think we need to change the name of the region
But we can,
because it says Southwest and that would be Southeast.
sure. No, it says Southeast.
Southwest.
Sure. Well, on mine it says Southeast.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anyway, well, we will probably change it to,
Trying to be
well,
helpful.
we will probably change it to
I'm trying to be helpful.
VTLC.
No, it's fine.
So, here, draft 8.1 is posted. And perhaps it would be easier, instead of looking at the map in this moment, to look at not that. So we're gonna go to page 3, line 17. Just this is where the language starts. So you'll notice in the key at the top, in the heading on each page, there's a new color. And blue is for questions regarding boundaries. So we've already cleared up the Alberg School District question that I had. This is just the rest of Grand Isle Supervisory Union. So we've cleared that up. No questions on Champlain Valley, no questions on the Southwest region. Oh, I do have them both. So we want to do Southeast. So let's jump to page 6, line 10. I think this is the, I'll fix the mistake there, so that Southeast. Which supervisory unions are currently members of VTLC?
I mean, I'm happy to read the list. Because I can't go to both.
Yep.
sides. So I'll just read the ones that I am aware of when we talked. Mountain Views Supervisory Union. I'm reading off this secretary's memorandum to them.
Oh, okay.
Mountain Views SU, Springfield School District, Two Rivers, Wyndham Northeast, Wyndham Southeast, Wyndham Southwest, Wyndham Central, and Windsor Southeast. Those are all SUs. There
Sorry,
are 8 members.
sorry,
Go
say
ahead.
say the W's again.
Okay, there's a lot of them. So Wyndham, there's 4.
Okay,
Wyndham Northeast, Wyndham Southeast, Wyndham Southwest, and Wyndham Central. Those are the 4 Wyndham County. Yes.
okay, I think right now Wyndham Southeast is not a part of,
That's Brattleboro, the whole
hold on,
southeast corner.
no, I just mean the map.
That was how you look at
So Wyndham. It's in there. Maybe I just didn't list it.
it. It's the biggest.
Okay.
And then the only other W was Windsor.
Windsor Southeast.
Windsor Southeast Supervisor.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
So that leaves Hartford Supervisory District.
Yep.
And SAU 70, one of the interstate districts.
Yeah.
That if you wanted to keep VTLC's membership the same, so that I can make some language about keeping them as they are, we would need to find a new CISA home for Hartford Supervisory District and SAU 70.
Springfield.
Yes.
Yes, Springfield is part of it.
Yeah, so let's put them in the light blue, or I'm sorry, whatever you have there. Yeah, the green.
Sorry. The Northeast region.
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to add the caveat that it is potentially possible that they've added some
Understood.
things, but I don't think so.
They what?
Added others may have signed on, but I don't.
I
think
just,
they have.
I just emailed for a full.
Thank you. That would be great to have it confirmed, but those are the ones that I'm definitely aware.
So what I envision happening then is on page 6, line 10, what is currently the Southeast region, CISA, I will rename to the Vermont Learning Collaborative. And I'll come up with some session law, or I'll come up with something that will live somewhere. That makes it clear their current articles of agreement satisfy the bylaw requirements and that they don't necessarily have to do anything different. And as I'm drafting that, if I have concerns that I hadn't already thought about, I will bring them to your attention. Does that work? So then I think you are obviously entitled to make whatever policy choices you want. But I think you've done your CISA regions.
Not hearing any objections to that.
I'm not objecting, but can I ask just a follow-up question to something I asked yesterday and got a lot of nods, but I don't know whether you were in the room or not. I just want to make sure that these CISAs, I'm comfortable with the boundaries of them for sure, but it remains flexible during the process that a CISA line could change down the road.
You know,
Okay, so.
down the road, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Down the road.
I'm just concerned about people looking at this and saying, this is like solid enough. But as districts start forming within, it could adjust lines. And I'm looking to you, Beth, that the language in our bill supports that flexibility.
Well, we are putting these in statute.
Yes.
We are asking for a report back with any recommended changes, but it would be up to the legislature to make the change.
So I just want to make sure that we're really clear about this because we need people to have deep, thorough conversations locally around all this. And some lines may need to change. And so we need to be sure that people understand what the process is and that that is allowed as the work continues locally.
Can I ask what you like were so adamantly saying no to, though? Like, you seemed like you were like, this is really important and this doesn't change.
No, all I was saying is that the language that we have doesn't allow for change on the fly. And this is again, just CISAs.
Uh-huh.
These are lines that are being put in statute. And so therefore, only the legislature can change statute.
Okay.
So as they go to form them, report back, the report back may say, make these changes, and the legislature would act on them.
Yeah.
I would also remind us that, you know, things may evolve as it goes through the rest of the process.
Yeah, I'm literally not talking about major. I'm talking about if there's one district that fits better and another one that might happen. I actually agree with the process. I think it's better to do it this way.
All right, let's bring up the tougher map.
Okay.
So we've got some statutory challenges here
And I couldn't figure out where you assigned Winooski.
because it was too small.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you remember where you assigned Winooski?
with Burlington.
With Burlington. Okay, then I'll make that change right now.
And, well, we can mess about with it. We can also add South Burlington since that makes it much bigger. Anyway, these,
I just want to assign it to something.
well, yeah, I think we probably just need to talk about it here. All right, so now if we look at
Districts with CISA, oh, we just changed the CISA, so is that?
So if you go to page 32, that's where the guidance, where section 13 begins. And I have just called these things groups.
thank you, that's a great name.
What a policy choice for you all to make in identifying.
And so you said page 32.
Yes.
So before we started, I was talking about some of this stuff with Beth, and so the issue that we have is that current law says that when forming unified union school districts, you are bringing together full districts. And we have contemplated breaking them up.
Yeah.
Mostly over the discussions of regional high schools. So I think we have two options. We can sort of say, well, let's sort of stick with the law as it is, districts, or we could not withstand. But again, we're not doing anything except using this as a, what do you teachers call it?
Graphic organizer.
Graphic organizer.
I still feel like that is getting lost in in some conversations that are making it tenuous. And I wonder like if, is it possible to offer 2 or 3 maps so that people really truly understand that there are options?
We have to put in, so I don't know if I can answer this, but we have to put in the suggested groupings.
Yeah,
That'll be based on a graphic organizer of a map.
right.
Um,
I understand.
but we're not, I would be hesitant to say optional. Here are 3 optional groupings.
Yeah. So I know that we need the maps. I understand that because in order to move this forward and have it meet something of sort of the request, it needs maps. But I mean, if all of it is optional, I don't really see the difference between offering more than one option, other than that we are really emphasizing even harder that these are options.
I think it just sort of as like legislation, it would get challenging. I think we offer all the freedom in the world to deviate from this. I mean, I think if I'm catching your drift here, I think your concern is being misunderstood and communicating this to the public.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think we just have to keep.
some
refer-
people are not hearing that.
Yeah.
So now we can choose.
We can't write legislation.
Yeah.
But yes, but I want this to have the support of the communities that we're doing this for, that we literally are giving them what they asked for.
Yeah.
Well, all we can do is do that.
You never please everyone.
Well, I'm also not sure we're giving them what they asked for.
Well, they all ask for
Something.
They all ask for different things.
Exactly, right.
That's true.
It's like making groups in a classroom.
Yep.
So you're gonna get the groups and go, I don't wanna be in that group. And you're trying to account for all the different variables that will happen, and then some kids will be absent that day, and you have to rejigger the group, like it's a group. I'm gonna just hammer the like classroom
There you go.
corollaries all the way through this one, but like, this is like the teacher's best effort, knowing everything you know, assuming everyone's gonna be there, and you're trying to, equalize all the different things for your flexible grouping, but then reality hits in the next day when you actually go to do the activity and printer didn't work and 3 kids are absent and somebody broke up with someone and you got in the same group. And I mean,
So no contact order, but.
right, yeah, I mean, so many,
Yeah, no, I hear you.
maybe for one didn't do their homework, and so then now they can't actually participate in the activity. So things actually change, but you start with a plan so that it has a direction, a goal, and then we have to fit out.
I'd like to go back to what you said.
Oh, so go ahead.
I would like to put, my gut reaction is to put in the notwithstanding. Because I don't want to hinder possible mergers if it just says you have to keep intact districts together, or, so as they're working through this process, my gut reaction is to leave it flexible for them to break things apart
All right,
as they
so,
merge. So if we put in notwithstanding language, does that?
so we
give
have
flexibility?
suggested groupings in here.
Yeah.
We're actually not in conflict with law because they're just
Oh,
suggestions
Correct.
and they're just groupings. The notwithstanding part of that or the change in statute would have to come when they actually form.
Right.
Is that a fair statement?
But are they gonna do even the conversations and work within their study group if they think that they're not gonna be able to merge in the end because they're not bringing the whole district together?
Yes.
I don't wanna hinder them from
Right.
moving forward.
Right, so if I were a district being sort of split apart in the suggested groupings, I might say, but that's contrary to the law. If we were to merge currently.
I don't know.
Talk to us.
You're gonna get into big issues when it comes to a vote.
Yeah, oh, that's true, because they vote by school district, not by town.
So I am, you all make it up. But if we're gonna be splitting school districts,
That's good.
then we may need to think about, I would need some time to think through what are the provisions in current law that we would need to account for. and how many different processes would we need to create? I don't know off the top of my head. All I did last night was flag that there were some school districts that were split up. I think at least two.
You said two.
Yeah.
To know which.
But Somerset with one student.
The other piece of this, oh, is that why I can't find
Somerset
Somerset
is one
here?
student. I mean.
That's why it's pink. I
I don't
highlighted it
even
in
know.
pink.
but still.
The other piece is if you split up, so for example, Montpelier and Roxbury were split up. Okay, so first, just off the top of my head, you're going to have an issue when it comes to voting. What happens if the Montpelier the study committee that the Montpelier School District is on wants to form a unified Union School District with its membership, and the Roxbury School District does not want to form it? What happens to Roxbury? There has been no withdrawal process. There is a process in state law for school districts to divorce. And if they haven't gone through that process, what does that look like? You can theoretically build exceptions for everything. I'm looking at the clock and the calendar.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we have the time to do that so that it works.
So then does contiguous become an issue?
No, I mean, it becomes, it's hard to, you can't say both.
Right.
Yeah.
But, well, you could say to the extent possible, no?
Right. Right, because it would be hard to require contiguous when we have non-contiguous districts.
Right, and that's what I'm
Right.
saying. So we have the word in there requiring it, correct?
Well, guiding.
It says shall.
So can I,
Yeah.
just to clarify, so if we are going to keep the existing units,
Districts.
districts, together, does the contiguous become irrelevant then?
Yeah.
We don't,
Aren't we trying to make things better?
we are.
Well, so.
Aren't we trying to make things cheaper? And so if you've got non-contiguous and you've got buses going through other towns, none of that makes sense.
But it is the world in which they already exist. So-
I understand that, but aren't we trying to move towards a new?
Right, but what I'm
Yes.
hearing from legislative council is it's gonna be a very, in order to like divorce Montpelier and Roxbury, just as an example. It really complicates things.
I don't think we should shy away from
Well, I guess I would,
changing everything to 5 districts would also complicate things.
yes, but that would be sort of imposed. I mean, we stepped away from imposing mandated districts. And so now we are at, voluntary mergers. And mergers under chapter 11 are merging school districts, existing school districts.
Turn Roxbury into connected as far as the study. Then they can make decisions within the study.
I'm sorry?
If we're talking about school districts, and is that the only one, by the way,
No.
that are not contiguous, I mean, because
Oh, there are 6.
Pulteney, the Quarry Valley Unified Union School District, you split up. Pulteney and Proctor are in group 3. And there's a couple.
so if we make a decision to not break up current districts for the reasons that have been explained already, those may happen down the road, and there's a legal process for them to happen. We'll just need to make sure that they stay contiguous in our guidance around, not contiguous, you know what I'm saying? Thank you. Within the language of the guidance of what these study committees will do. Just make the map look a little bit.
I think we are, and Becky, correct me if I'm wrong, we are in conflict if we say nothing non-contiguous, everything has to be contiguous. We have a district that is non-contiguous, like Montpelier, Roxbury.
I think that the contiguous language speaks to the new school districts.
That's right, not to the current
Study.
Not to the
committee.
study.
Exactly.
Well, let me look, let me correct myself.
If you're not operating, contiguous is irrelevant.
I guess, I'm gonna throw this out there as a concern, anybody can talk me out of it. So in a case of a non-contiguous district, I don't know if there are other ones besides Roxbury.
Oh, come on.
How do they? I see that sort of like if we require them in the future to be contiguous. That does that throw a whole monkey wrench in that discussion within the sort of central Vermont area, which is why it's targeted in the redistricting task force.
So my opinion on that is that there are going to be other challenges down the road. This is not happening overnight. There needs to be a process for those who don't fit in the whole block. We may have to, a future legislature may have to change language. I still, even if it says in here that it's not allowed, I think we should make this guidance remain, the guidance districts remain, for study committees, remain without breaking boundaries. It's gonna make the map look.
I still think it should
And
be.
if something has to
to the extent
change.
possible.
Well, so it says, okay, using suggested school district groupings. The facilitator shall group districts together according to the following criteria. School districts shall be contiguous.
And some of them are.
So, and some of them just aren't.
To the extent possible fixes that. I mean, I'm trying to find the middle ground.
Let's
between what I
let
want.
legislative council talk.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, one person at a time, in plain English, without looking at this, what your goal is?
You want us to go around the entire table?
No, I'm looking at your chair.
Yeah.
Just look at it. I can't speak for the committee, but I should do that a lot. But for the individuals, I mean, our goal is to bring together school districts to force the conversation, and that's all.
Maybe, what is your goal related to contiguous school districts? Is your goal to have the end result be school districts where towns that are members of the school district are contiguous?
Yes.
Yeah. That is not the language you have here.
So we need to.
This, I read the, and I think it could be more clear, but the way I have been operating is that you require the school districts on the study committee to be contiguous with each other. And you are silent as to the result of those study committees.
But Beth,
I would also say it's not everybody's goal in this room to make sure that everybody's contiguous.
Here,
You know.
the way the legislative process works is, I will go crazy if I don't take direction just from the chair. And so when I say we, I am asking for direction for me to leave the room and come back with a product. I am never speaking on behalf of every member at the table. So I apologize if that is the impression I have been given.
I think Beth's,
No.
I think Beth's comment was directed at the
Just-
committee, not at legislative
Okay.
council.
Correct,
When we say we,
Because
Okay.
Logan said, yes, that's your goal, and I'm not sure it is.
Josh, go ahead.
so like, my concern is how do they vote if they're split into different study committees, right? Because voting is by district, not by town. So even with,
I think legislative council may have just told us the language we have is not achieving the goal we are seeking. This is saying you bring together only contiguous school districts, which would leave out a non-contiguous school district. So how do you bring together Montpelier and Washington Central when Montpelier isn't really allowed in because they're a non-contiguous school district?
I actually don't, I read the language as being this school district and this school district need to be contiguous with each other. Not that this school district needs to have towns that are contiguous as its members. I can draft the language however I am directed to draft it, but I believe as drafted, and at the end of the day, I know I sound like a broken record. It doesn't necessarily matter what I think. It matters how the field is going to execute this and interpret this.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the witness stand, the way I read this is school districts A, B, and C, if they are on a study committee together, they need to be contiguous. It says nothing about the end result of what A, B, and C decide to do. And it also says nothing about the member towns of school districts A, B, and C. It is agnostic on both of those second.
All right. Okay, so, the groupings that we have created, I would say therefore, it's almost, everything is contiguous.
Yes.
Because Montpelier is contiguous.
I mean, yeah, here, let's just use a visual here. Yes, all of your colors are touching like colors. So the color groupings that you've made,
Except for that little green thing.
Oh, it's,
this, where? This?
Oh, no, that's actually connected.
that's touching.
Oh, okay.
Your color groupings are all contiguous in that they're all touching each other in some way, shape, or form.
So that means even like one little corner that's.
Yes.
Okay, because we have a couple places where I would argue it's not touching, but it's like.
Corners are,
Okay.
it's like four corners.
I mean, maybe contiguous is not the word you want to use. Maybe we come back to the plain English and we just describe what the goal is at each level, right? What is the goal for school district groupings?
The guidance.
Yes, for the guidance.
Thank you.
And then is there a goal? Do you care about whether the membership on the current school districts that are sitting at the table? You can't change the membership of the current school districts. So if there are non-contiguous school districts right now, unless you build a separate process, if you're trying to work within current law, then you just have what you have for current school districts. And if there are non-contiguous school districts, there are non-contiguous school districts. But you can require the groupings to be contiguous, which I believe you've done with your mapping. You are still silent as to the end result. So like, for example, this pink area, what is pink? Let's see. District 17. This says district. I did not label it district in the draft. I go with the term group.
Yeah.
If you are agnostic or silent as to the end result, which you have been, which seems to be a theme, a key concept of what the committee is trying to achieve. In the universe of possibilities, regardless of whether this would ever actually happen, you could decide this Elmore, Stowe, and Belvedere could decide to be a school district. They've been grouped together on a study committee. They are contiguous. Well, I don't know because I don't know what school districts they're part of and whether they would need to divorce to accomplish all of that. But I'm just saying, theoretically, you could have school districts that are grouped together and contiguous within the larger grouping decide that they would like to form school districts that leaves out the middle, if you will.
Which they could do in current law too.
Absolutely.
I'll just share my goals because I'm only speaking for myself and no one else in this committee or anybody I represent. My goal, I just have to say it because this is really complicated and challenging. My hope is that in the end, my goal would be understanding that there may need to be exceptions, but we have a process for exceptions. But my goal is to have that contiguous piece, the final result. I'm less concerned about it in the step. I'm fine with the map the way it is too, but I don't want to be setting ourselves up for any challenge down the road with following law. But my goal was not to have the lines around these guidance districts, guidance variance groups, thank you, to necessarily be contiguous. It was the final result that I was looking for. That's just me.
Beth, go
I
ahead.
think just for me, that really cleared it up a lot for me when you said that it's for the study group. The contiguous part is the study group groupings are contiguous, so that makes perfect sense. And not breaking apart school current groups makes it easier for the study groups. And I just don't want to hinder or stop people from who want to move forward from moving forward by putting something in there that hamstrings them. So
So
I'm very happy with what you said because it really cleared it up for me.
So currently, we are silent
Yes.
on outcomes.
Yeah. Should we be? I think so.
I mean, we are as sort of hands-off because it's voluntary. And so the question is, does the committee want to be more prescriptive of what the outcome has to be?
I think that's a really bad idea.
Struggling to imagine a world with a bunch of non-contiguous districts that is forward progress for any of the bigger goals that we actually might mostly sort of agree on this too.
I guess one of the questions is, would that even happen?
I don't know, but I like, you're talking about, you know, reducing transportation costs, like all the things about like a district,
At the regional level in high school.
you know, or, you know, being able to, you know, in a larger district, you can move teachers and staff around as needed. Enrollment goes down one place, it goes up another place. Like, I guess it depends, like, well, if your district is now like has an hour of another district in between it, that starts to get really, this is all, we're so like deep in conjecture land and it feels really, but that seems like would be a very unfortunate and outcome for the state of Vermont out of this
So we have.
counter.
So we have. Do we have any, under Act 46, in other words, the proposals sort of go through a check with the AOE and the state board, right?
Yes.
And the state board, do we give them any power to say, go back to the drawing board?
You don't deviate from current law. So current law says. Share my screen. So advisable. Committee transmits a report to the secretary, who then submits them to with recommendations to the state board. The only change you made here was the timeline within which the secretary has to act. You've given, and it's in draft 8.1, you've given the secretary 60 days from receipt or whatever, April, I think, whichever date comes first. So the requirement on the state board is they have to consider the report and proposed articles of agreement and the secretary's recommendations. They have to provide the study committee an opportunity to be heard. They may ask to make the secretary or the study committee or both to make further investigation and may consider any other information the state board deems to be pertinent, and may request that the study committee amend the report or the proposed articles of agreement or both. And then all current law says is, if the state board finds that formation of the proposed union school district is in the best interest of the state, the students, et cetera, then it shall approve the study committee's report.
And if they don't, then what?
Well, so then let's see, vote to form union school district.
But I think that the language in that as a check works. If it also says if we don't find that it's in the best interest of the students.
No, I don't think, I'm trying to remember back to all of our work in this area. This is not very explicit as to what, it's not explicit at all. There's nothing in the vote to form a union school district statute that requires, that explicitly says the vote only moves forward if the state board has approved it. And I'm looking at the language here.
You know, in order to be able to do that, you would first have to withdraw from, you know, if you are, well, I guess these have to be, never mind. No.
I think you're onto something though, and I think that that is a process that could happen organically,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're on a study committee with 6 school districts and there's a meeting of the minds that one school district needs to divorce so that there can be, instead of 6 school districts, 2 school districts, then I think that withdrawal process would need to happen so that, and then there would be, need to be towns. I mean, I think it would get very complicated quickly.
To be able to do that.
Yes.
Right, but I guess it would be more like, could 3 non-contiguous school districts within the study group? The unlikeliness of it, especially in the face of what I would hope would be a negative recommendation from the state board, I think would make it seem very unlikely. So again, I think I'll go back to the question. It said the state board finds that it is in the best interest, but it doesn't say anything about it. The state board finds that it is not.
It doesn't. There's the use of this term, the chair of the study committee shall file a copy of the approved final report and proposed articles of agreement with the clerk of each school district identified. You know, there's no option B, right? There's no D1 and D2 for what happens if the final report and proposed articles are not approved.
That's a question about that. But I suppose technically, if it's never approved, then they're not, if they can only file a copy of an approved final report, if the final report is never approved, then they can't meet subsection D, right? Like, isn't that?
Lawyer stuff kicking in.
I mean,
Yes, I don't know that the vote requires an approved final report. That's where I was jumping over to section 710, and I don't see that same term used here. Approved. It just says the vote shall be held on the date specified in the final report.
oh,
And I don't have any memory of whether that was a intentional choice. If you want to require, if you want to allow the state board to say no and then prevent a vote from happening, then I think you build in that language for this process specifically. And if you just want to let things play out organically as they would under current law, then you're going to get lots of reports back about impediments or issues in current law or rule that folks from all the different perspectives want to see changed as they make their way on this journey.
That part's going to happen anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah. I guess I find the scenarios that we are talking about would be highly unlikely to ever get to a vote. Because, so I guess I'm comfortable with current law. But that's me. You know, if you figure you have to, you want to form a new, larger, non-contiguous district. First of all, if you're part of a district and you want to break away, there's a whole rigorous process for that. But if you are, I don't even know if these scenarios exist where you still have small districts, non-contiguous, similar operating structure. So then you'd have to come all together and, create articles of agreement. We have to go before the state board. State board might say, this is not in the best interest of the state. Can't file the report. The idea that everything would still happen after all of that, I find highly unlikely. But so I guess I tempted to let just not complicate things, but just keep current law. That's me thinking out loud, and this is a discussion for everybody.
I agree.
We can chew on that and move on
Okay,
to our, well, so this brings us to our groupings issue. In that we have in fact split school districts into groupings. And that's not really allowed under current law or under chapter 11. So perhaps we need to revisit the map. It doesn't, it's going to get in the way unless we could make larger groupings. It's going to get in the way of the discussions over larger regional high schools potentially. But remember, we are allowing the flexibility of groupings to expand or contract in order to meet the goals.
would you like me to point out where I found
Yes.
school districts and split? Okay, before we do that, I just wanna, let's look at the same dots that we looked at last time. So again, the colored dots underneath the supervisory union's name correspond to the groupings that school districts within the SU or towns within the SU for this map have been assigned to. So you'll notice that there's a lot more multiple colors under the supervisory unions on this map than there was in our previous map, the seesaw map. And I only point that out because that means you've split SUs. And if you're keeping SUs intact for seesaws, that means you've split seesaw membership, which I don't think is necessarily a deal breaker. We may just want to revisit the information about direction to the facilitator and how they are using these groupings. And when and how they can deviate from grouping within their seesaw, the region they are assigned to. So maybe it's not that facilitators are assigned to a seesaw region. Maybe it's that facilitators are assigned to groups 1 through 7 and whatever. You're still going to have the same issue with supervisory unions being split, but you're getting that report back for recommendations for SU boundaries and seesaw boundaries after the dust has settled and AOE has taken account of the mergers that have happened. So we're going to go to page. And do we like the term group?
For the time being,
Yes.
yes.
Great. Okay, page 32, section 13. Okay, so group 1, everything seemed to be intact. Group 2. Seems to split the Quarry Valley Unified Union School District. Group 2 includes West Rutland, but it does not include Pulteney and Proctor. And my understanding from the resources that I listed off a little while ago is that Pulteney, Proctor, and West Rutland form the Quarry Valley Unified Union School District. don't know off the top of my head what SU those folks belonged.
Okay, what's this called? Quarry Valley?
Prairie Valley.
And we have, and it includes Pulteney.
So group 1, or sorry, group 2 includes West Rutland.
Yes.
Group 3 includes Pulteney and Proctor. So 2 different groups, 3 towns, but those 3 towns, my understanding is one school district.
How am I looking?
Where's Proctor? So geographically, this one is really challenging because Proctor and West Rutland are, very close to Rutland. Pulteney is separated from all of that by Ira. And Pulteney's sort of best place to merge is with Fairhaven.
Yeah, that's it.
There's not contiguous again.
So this gets into your suggestion that we are talking about groupings, not by school district, well, not by SU.
Still have the issue of if you split a school district into different,
How do you vote?
So if I understand what we're saying is either just move West Rutland into group 3 or move Pulteney and Proctor into group 2, so they're together. Is that what
I am not making any
I
suggestions.
think what we really just have to do here is combine 3 and 2,
into one big group?
one big group. Okay, all right, so let's play this out. Let's say they all get together and say, well, we shouldn't all be one big group, but we should split ourselves up exactly as 2 and 3 look here. We have a process that would be very complicated to make that happen that exists in Chapter 11. We could supersede that in the future. So we probably don't need to solve this now, but let's say that they came back in 2027 or 28 with their final report saying we should be split apart. The legislature made a statute or session law that says by waving our magic wand, you do not need to go through the withdrawal process that exists in Chapter 11, that by virtue of your power vested in us, you are now 2 school districts.
Do you have power to do that? Whether that is how to do it, I would have to think through.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the power to do that in that we are a Dillon's rule state. It's going to, I can't give you a black and white yes or no answer without knowing, more specifics in the future.
We were talking about doing fully mandated new school districts.
Right.
The draft we had before, we were having a conversation at some point in time. We said, well, what if the study committee gets to the end of this process and decides a unified union school district, pre-K through 12, isn't in their best interest, but they decide, for example, what you just said, do they have to disband the study committee, start all over again, go through the process? Or could we put something in our existing thing we're working on that says, oh, you've made that decision and there's a process for you to move forward with that decision instead of having to disband and start all over?
Is that a question for me or the chair?
And then
Yeah,
the
go on.
upshot was, we said, well, if they don't do the unified union school district pre-K through 12, then they disband and they just go through the process we have. in existing statute.
I'm not
So
sure.
I'm
I
starting
quite
to
follow
I'm
that.
starting to rethink whether we should have something in there that allows them to say, yeah, the pre-K through 12, one pre-K through 12 unified union school district isn't the decision we came to. We
Oh,
came that there's two, and there's a way for us to move forward from this point without having to just disband the study group.
so what we have currently is study group is trying to achieve the goal of a
Mhm.
unified union school district.
Yeah.
And that if they decide that it is inadvisable, then they can disband, and should they choose to use chapter 11 to do anything else, that remains an option for them.
Yeah,
I think that if this sort of district situation were to pass, maybe it's a job for a future legislature to solve, probably
okay.
at this point. For the time being, I would combine District 2 and 3, except I do not believe Middletown Springs, Ira, and Wells are part of anything else in District 3.
What do you mean they're part of anything else?
I don't think they're part of those SUs within District 3. Could be wrong.
You're combining group 2 and 3, so now we only have one group.
Yeah.
Do you want? I guess I just don't understand what you're saying.
Are they, I guess, are Wells,
You to look at
Middletown
the
Springs?
List of who's in the group while you're looking.
Wells Spring Unified Union School District, Iris School District.
They are all 3 separate school districts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
You're gonna have multiple towns, part of 2 different school districts because of modified union school districts, elementary school districts, high school districts. But again, chapter 11 is about school districts coming to the table.
Yeah.
So you'll need to include all of them. But yes, Ira School District is its own school district.
Okay, so here's my next thought. But it's gonna require some local knowledge. Ira, Middletown Springs, and Wells do not send, I think they are not 9 or K-12 operating systems. Everybody else in districts 2 and 3 are. So should they be grouped into District 4? That's a policy question. It also sort of balances the numbers a little bit. I don't know what that does to. I don't know what member, what SU they're in. And we were trying to keep groupings together within the CSAs.
I mean, you have multiple SUs that have been split up.
Okay, all right.
Whether that's
You mean
what you
within-
want
within-
or not is
Within CSAs.
Those 3 are in this.
Even within districts.
yeah, I mean, yes, so the way to tell if you've split up an SU is to look at the SU names.
Mhm.
And if there are multiple colors, then the school districts within Caledonia Central Supervisory Union have all been assigned to different groups. And I'm only able to determine that by the different color dots. Same with Grand Isle, Greater Rutland. Montpelier, Roxbury, you actually split the school district.
Yeah.
Orange East, Orleans Central. White River Valley, Wyndham Central, Wyndham Southeast.
I'm falling into my own trap of sort of
Yes.
CSA lines because they happen to be on the map I'm looking at. But
We also ended up doing that between District 12 and 13 based on some conversations that I thought we had undone yesterday afternoon, but looking at the map, I see that it stayed like Level Park.
I don't think we ever gave direction to make that change
Okay, and Westmore wants to be moved.
there,
Okay.
one area at a time. All right, I'm just gonna throw out there, based on my limited knowledge, we should combine 2 and 3. Except that Wells, Middletown Springs, and Ira should move into 4.
I don't need.
And I'm only thinking about light operating systems.
Don't we want to end up with?
And let's just, but let's
systems?
keep, then let's keep life simple, let's just combine the 2.
But Middletown Springs and Wells are a single school district. Wells
Yes, the
Unified
Wellspring
Union,
Unified.
And then
Union School
Ira
District.
must be its own.
Correct.
Okay.
Again, according to the,
Right. yes.
according to my sources.
I'm looking at the same. sheet.
Okay. I'm sorry, you said combine what? So we've combined groups
2 and 3.
3. Are we no longer adding Wellspring, Ira and Ira to 4? Or are we keeping them
We're
apart?
getting into the serious nitty gritty here. But here's what I don't know to the extent that Ira, Middletown Springs, and Wells flow towards Bolton, which is the closest school or Fairhaven. But let's just for the time being, just keep combining the 2.
I don't think so.
And don't move anything to group 4.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was an agree, Emily?
Yes, I said I agree with that.
Okay, you're shaking your head while you were.
I'm sorry, I'm reading and trying to keep up, but I agree with that.
7-minute break? Oh, well, actually, no, because we have pre-K coming in, testimony at 11. All right, so show us other areas in which we have split districts.
The next blue is on page 34, and that's group 10. You have Roxbury, but not Montpelier. And you've assigned Montpelier to group 23.
So that because it's a district, and this is about districts coming together, that needs to stay together.
Unless you want to build out a new process.
I thought the part of this was to have unified K through 12 systems, not for everything to be fully operational.
Yes, your point being.
I don't know, just to feel like, I mean, Kate just made a comment, shouldn't it be everything K-12 operational or fully operational? That's how I heard it. So I feel like some people on the committee might be feeling one way or another. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear on what we're doing.
We are forming, so when we talk about operational and non-operational, I think we're trying to actually move beyond that and say that you can be operational, but how you choose, how you operate to educate your students is still up to the district.
Thank you.
So we need to move Roxbury to group 23.
Yeah,
Is that what's happening?
With.
yeah, we have
In
to.
current
You
language.
don't want to build out a whole separate process.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yes.
Okay, next one is group 12. From my read of the map, you've assigned Barton and Glover to group 12. Barton and Glover are part of the Lake Region Union Elementary School District and the Lake Region High School District, 2 separate districts. but they, but they are not, and the rest of the towns in that district you've assigned to group 13. So you've split it.
Right, so
Yeah.
we should probably put those back in.
Yes,
We need to unsplit those.
And so who's going where?
they
Yeah.
need to go with the high school. which is
And that's just for-
13.
That's because of voting, right? Like,
Yeah,
That's where they go to school, so.
but if after that, say Glover wanted to be in District 12, they could vote for that. Or they could vote not to be in the Lake Region. I mean,
I think that'll be in the report back from the
right,
facilitators.
the reason
And
I,
then a future legislature would have to
yeah.
create a process
The
for
reason
that.
I originally said it was because their proximity to the interstate, they're right in the middle, but
Yeah, I kind of lost track of like how that's supposed to look.
yeah, so Glover and Barton should be in District 13 for the voting reasons. The other thing I'm wondering about is we're saying contiguous, but Walden is not contiguous to District 12. That's an exception to that.
Yes.
And Stannard is like sticking out there, like why not just put Walden and Stannard?
Where does Walden exist currently?
It is in Cal Co-op, which is.
Walden is a choice town.
They're part of Cal Co-op.
Which is Danville, Cabot.
No,
Well, they have choice.
Waterford, Barnet, and Walden.
They have an elementary school and then they have high school choice.
Right. But they are like all,
They have to stay together because they're an SD. We're not splitting SDs for this.
is that correct? Walden, Barnet and Waterford
Yes,
are one SD.
yes.
Not
And
an
that
SU.
SD is contiguous within the study group with Kingdom East.
I don't know, why is Walden, Barnet and Waterford an SD when Danville is in the center of it?
Because when they merged voluntarily the last time this happened, that's how they got together.
And then what district is Stannard in?
Standard is, it's in the green.
Some Stannard kids go to Hazen, some Stannard kids go to LI.
Because they don't have a high school.
Right,
So
so,
high school choice.
well, I'm wondering what school, because for voting, I'm just asking about voting purposes.
Yeah,
That's what.
appreciate that.
so-
So we need to know what district Standard is in.
Look in the purple book.
What, this is part of the challenge is that the purple book is organized by SU and not school district. What color or what district is Stannard in,
We
right?
have it currently in 13.
13, okay. 13, bear with me. There we go. Oh, it's that little sliver.
Yeah.
They're part of the Orleans Southwest Supervisory Union.
Okay, so then they should stay with
Stay where they
District 13. It's just weird on the map.
Yes, it is. Yep.
It is.
And they're part of the Mountain View Union Elementary.
Oh,
School.
that's
Okay,
right,
right,
right. Now that's all coming back to me. Okay.
All right. So,
And they're their own town school district.
what I'm hearing is that Barton and Glover need to go into District 13.
Yes.
Okay.
Westmore was wondering about being in District 12 because prior to being roped into Oxu, I think that they were a choice town, which is very important to them. However, now that I'm hearing all of this, it sounds like they already are part of the Oxu school district, and so that's why they have to be in 13 for the voting purposes. Is that correct?
That went a little fast.
Sorry.
What district are we looking at?
Westmore. We're looking at the town of Westmore.
No, the district you've created.
Oh,
Grouping.
13.
13, okay.
And 13.
And what town?
Westmore.
Are we
So I'm
in-
just wondering, they were wondering about the possibility of going into District 12, but it's just a voting question. Do we
It's
have that?
what
We're not gonna break
district are they part of? Yeah.
Right.
Where?
I think they're now part of Lake Region.
They're Orleans Central SU.
Then they have to
Stay too.
That's the reason. Okay, I can communicate that.
Although. Oh, because I'm looking at the wrong one. Yes, they're part of the Lake Region Union Elementary and Middle
Okay.
School District, and then the corresponding high school district.
So again, it's gonna be very important to explain to people that while they're staying here for the voting purposes, that doesn't mean they have to stay here perpetually. I mean, they could then vote to move and join a different district.
We would need to create a process. So here's to play it out. The facilitators go out, get the groupings together. They may come up with something where they need to split districts that's going to be better for the state of Vermont and meeting our goals. We don't have a process for that, other than a very complex with first you have to withdraw from the district you're in and you have to be accepted in the other district. It requires the vote of everybody. If one town says you can't do it, then you can't do it.
How does a town regain their autonomy to be like, we don't want to be with you if you're voting?
It used to be easy, but you can't anymore. Both towns have to petition for it, then there has to be a committee, they have to agree to it, it goes to the state decides we can have it.
It's
That's a simple.
well, it's actually you're talking about like if somebody is part of a unified school district and they don't want to be part of it anymore.
Yeah.
There is in chapter 11, there is a withdrawal process. But you are breaking from a, unified group, so it requires everybody to vote on it. Any town that says no, the whole thing, guys, this is all current law.
Right. So I'm just wondering, so theoretically, then a town could never, for the rest of the history of the universe, get their freedom back if the other towns.
Well, I would like to not classify it as freedom and not freedom. I would rather classify it as,
Autonomy, can we say autonomy?
well, I mean, the choice is, so the process exists. But, this is where we talk about the goals of the state of Vermont and, Act 46, and then the resulting language talked about.
So essentially, a small town would have to petition or organize for complete secession from the state of Vermont. If they
They would have to, all they do is petition and go through the withdrawal process.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that they're going to succeed. Yeah. And these aren't towns, these are school districts.
Right, but I'm saying they used to be, like, each town used to be a school district. So
That's
if
right.
the town decided we want to go back to being our own.
Right, that's not the direction the state is going.
Right, so I'm saying so there is no way, this is my question, there's no way for a town to say, well, we want to go in a different direction than.
There is language in chapter 11 of there is a withdrawal process.
Yeah,
But it requires a lot, including a vote. And if that vote goes the other way, then it doesn't happen.
I still feel like this conversation is getting really circular and my question's not really getting answered in it.
Well, you're saying there's no way you can ever leave. I'm telling you, yes, there is. There's a process.
But only if the other towns around you agree to it. So there's no way, if one town wanted something that the towns around them didn't want, they're stuck forever.
I would say forever.
We have a
Union High
state.
School District as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just, yeah.
Right.
This
It's
isn't-
current law,
yeah.
right?
No, I
Yeah.
know, I'm just trying to understand it. I'm
Yeah.
not arguing about it, but I'm just confirming that yes, that is true, that at this point.
There's a
technically-
process that exists. It's
Okay.
not easy.
Okay.
Used to be.
And no one has as much autonomy
A few
as they
years
think
ago,
they have to
it's
do.
made
as
hard.
they have to do.
Actually, there's plenty of.
Okay, other things we.
All right. Did we have any other, actually, I'm gonna just stop us right here. 10 minutes, everybody.